This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, it's all about the sound waves, because you are going to be making your own mashups of songs by putting different pieces of your popular songs in with different other pieces and making your own symphony. And you're going to be doing this while playing a card game. Today we're talking about Dropmix. This is from Harmonix, who you might know is the one that did Rock Band, the video game, and now they're doing this analog style game. So let me show you how it works, and I'll see you on the other side. Now Dropmix comes with a total of 60 cards. 15 of those cards will each be a specific deck. So here is a deck of the Crown, which is hip hop. This robot is electronic, the pop is popsicle, and this axe is rock music. Now each of these decks again has 15 cards. They're gonna have different pieces of music on them. For example, this shows you that is a guitar. So it's sort of the rhythm or the guitar section from Run DMC's It's Tricky, where this one is the vocals for Tribe Called Quest scenario. So there are going to be colors involved. There's going to be logos involved, whether it's a vocal or piano or drums. Some of the cards actually have all four. It's like a full song, like this Bruno Mars 24K Magic song. And then there's also going to be volume levels, 1, 2, and 3. And then sometimes these are wild like this. So those are the different style of cards that you'll see, and each player that's playing will use one or two of these decks for the game that they're playing. There's 3 different modes of this, so let's jump into the different ways that this system works. So here's the system itself. This comes with the game, and then you'll use your own device, either a phone or a tablet, and you'll place it there. You'll download a free Dropmix app that you'll use. Now the device sits in this nice little place here that's made for that, but for you to see it easier, I'm actually going to place my device here so I can zoom in a little bit and teach you how the game works. All right, so here we have the app. Here I'm going to click play. You can save mixes, you can have, shows you the collection of cards you've got. So you click here and you can select one of 3 modes: Clash, Party, and Freestyle. We're gonna start with Freestyle because this allows you just to play with this almost as a toy and just get familiar with some of the concepts in the game. Now, this system itself, if you look, it has different colors. We have green and blue here, blue only, blue and red, red only, and then red and yellow, and they're on both sides the same types of things. Now, the colors of cards, you can start to play things in this Freestyle mode. In this mode, you can actually put them anywhere, but try to put them in the slots of the same color just to show you what's going on. So for example, I could take this card here, which is the baseline of Tribe Called Quest. Notice it has a guitar in the bottom left hand, and the guitar is green, and in the top right, it has a volume level of 2, which is green. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this right on the green. And it's starting to play it, and then over here on the green, it has the little picture of the card, and it has the volume level there as well. So that's the baseline. Now, this deck actually also happens to have the vocals of this same track. They're yellow, it's a microphone, volume 3. We're gonna throw this over here.
No holds barred, no time for move faking. Got to get the loot so I can bring home the bacon. Brothers front, they say the drop can't float, but we've been known to do the impossible like Broadway Joe. So here we go, yo.
So now they're playing together. So what if I take this off? Well, then that will go off. But what if I put something else on there? Like the violin from Call Me Maybe.
The vibe is the tribe, y'all. Tribe, y'all. Live, y'all. Live, y'all. Inside, outside, come around. Who's that? Round two. Scooby-Doo, what we do?
And then I add the drums to Run DMC. And then the keyboards to Sean Paul. And then if things get too crazy, you can actually throw in a card that does all 4 and it will remix everything. Also, notice here it has the BPMs, it has what key it's in. You can change all of that while you're playing with this and really mess with it yourself as well. So what if I play this? You'll hear it all mix up. Now that is cool. It's got goosebumps. So you got all that playing together. You can put stuff on top of other things. So like you can play this and it will now stop the old violins and it will add that. So that's generally the technology of how this works. This is just the freestyle mode just to get used to playing cards and seeing how the technology itself works. Now if we go to party mode,
by the way, in these modes, there's a question mark in the top right, and if you click that, you can actually see the rules of the game, because it doesn't actually come with paper rules, but you can find the rules there. So in the party mode, it's a cooperative game. You're all going to be working together. You'll place your deck on one of the spots, and it will register that deck. If you're playing with 1 or 2 players, you'll each place 2 decks down that you'll then put together to make your one large deck. If you're playing with 3 or more players, each of you will place a deck there, and it registers them as it comes in. And then once you're all registered, you push the Dropmix key, which is like this, and then it just tells you to go ahead and remove the cards, and it will get started. So in this game, you're each going to draw a certain amount of cards that the screen tells you to, and you're going to be trying to place them as fast as possible with the correct restrictions that it's going to give you. Sometimes it will be colors, sometimes it will be volume, sometimes it will be both. See, this says large part, so you're going to draw 4 cards, so each player will draw 4 cards from their deck that they've just shuffled, and then people are going to be playing cards out there. So let's show you how this works. And you're going to be doing it as fast as you can. So any color with a volume level of 2. So I have this blue card with a volume level of 2. The faster you play it, the more points you'll get. Ooh, a volume of 3. Any color. So there's a volume of 3. And I put it, remember, I put it in the yellow. A volume 1. Now look at this. This is a volume 1. I'm trying to place it on volume 3, and it says level 2 low, because remember, in all the games, you have to place at least the same volume or higher. You could say, let's see, volume 2. We'll put that one. And everyone is doing this at the same time. Sometimes you're cooperating, telling each other which cards you have really quickly, and then it says refill your hand to 4 cards. Everyone will draw back up to 4. And we'll do a yellow. So it has to be at least a 3 again, because it has to be as high. Now you can use whites. Whites are wild as well. This says we need a green. So I'll place this one over here. And again, people are doing it as fast as they can, working together. Oh, we need any red card. So this player drops that one. Any green card. So this player drops this one. You see how it works. And again, white can be used for anything. Remove a blue, so then we'll take this one off. This one says if 3 of any, so this player plays that blue. Ricky Martin. Then we get a bonus request. It's going to come up with 2 more. A blue that's 2 or higher. Now it can be just 1 card that you do this, or you can put a blue anything and then a 2 volume of anything. So sometimes you can get more than 1 request done with just 1 card, depending on what's there. And then you refill your hands of 4 cards. You go through 4 rounds like this in the party mode, and you're trying to get as many points as possible. It keeps track of it at the end. Ooh, so that's a red and a 3. So if you have 1 card that does both of those, that's fantastic. Now it says Dropmix. You click the Dropmix button, and it will tell you to remove certain cards of a certain volume level. So it's going to say volume level 2. Anything with a volume level 2 is going to start flashing, and you're going to remove it. And that's going to give you, it's going to make it easier to play cards again. But essentially, this is how the party version works. Now let's try the clash mode. This is sort of versus, and this is played, you could play it 1 against 1, sort of a head-to-head bout, or you could do teams, 2 versus 2, or 1 versus 2. If you're playing on teams, each of you will have 1 15-card deck, and you'll have basically 3 cards. If you're by yourself, you'll have 2 decks, or essentially 30 cards, and you'll have 5 cards to draw from. And so like the other game, you'll just register the decks depending on which ones you're playing. Place those there. You can play Dropmix to start. It says remove the cards. This is pretty much how you start all the games. Now the game actually has many more decks you can buy, and so that's why it kind of shows you which ones you're playing with. So when it's your turn in this game, if you're by yourself, you're going to play 2 cards in a row. If you're with a teammate, each of you will play 1. So now it's selecting randomly which team will go first. And depending on where you put your cards, showed you which team you're on. So this team's going to go first. And it's not timed or in a rush like the party mode. That team essentially is going to play 2 cards. If it's the same player, they'll just play 2 themselves. If they're on a teammate, each of them will play 1. So let's say this player plays this one. And then it will start. And then this player, let's say, plays this. Now usually this team's sitting on this side, the other team's sitting on that side, and the cards will be turned. When the player from this side plays, they'll be facing them, and you can see which of these that team owns. Now look at this. This is glowing. Any new color that next team plays, they'll get an additional point. So if that player plays this, because it's glowing and blue hasn't been played yet, they'll get a point for playing a card and an additional point for playing a color that's not there. And let's say they then play a green, which still is glowing, they're going to get a point plus an additional point. Now for your turn, if you want to keep going, let's say the next team comes up, it tells you to draw back up to 6, so you had 6 cards total there. This player plays the red and it's all full. And let's say the other team has too many cards out. You can press the Dropmix button and it will have you remove a certain amount of cards from that other team depending on which volume level shows up. That one said nothing, unfortunately. So now it tells you which team's turn it is. Let's say this player plays a wild and does something like this. Now if you get all 5 on your side, you'll actually get an extra bonus point. So let's say this one plays this one like this. Play that. And so now let's say this player plays a Dropmix. They want to get rid of all these other teams' cards. They'll get the Dropmix card. And anyone that has a 1 volume, anything that has a 1 volume, it will start flashing, and they will take that off. Basically, it loses points for that team. And then that you can continue to play as you're doing. Maybe the player now fixes it, puts their own in there. So you're going back and forth and you're trying to be the first team or player to get to 21. Now I told you you could save mixes. When you're done at the end, it will allow you to save a mix, and you can save those. You can actually upload those and share those with other people. That's pretty cool. And then under collection, again, this shows you which decks you have. You can add certain decks to your collection, but you can do a deck builder. So the cool thing is you can blend decks. So for instance, it's telling you how many cards and how many points. So if I put this card here, it is 1 card and it's 4 points because it's a white as a wild. For example, if I played this red one, it's basically only 1 point because it has a 1 volume level and it's another card. If I play this blue 3, it's going to be worth 3 points and it's 1 card. And you can build your deck up so that you have no more than 30 cards and no more than 80 points. So it balances all the decks out, but you can mix and match all the different songs from the different decks that you want and build your own deck, which is really cool. All right, well, there's Dropmix. And I just played this for the first time back at PAX Unplugged. I was a little embarrassed that I had not even heard of this game. Being a musician, someone who, when I keep a game in my library, I do a saxophone serenade, and being an analog gamer, I hadn't even heard of this and I was embarrassed about it. My friend Matt Evans from Board Game Replay had it there. We played it a bunch. He had all the expansion packs as well, and I was just, wow, this is so cool. So that was the first time I had seen it. I was really interested. Now that I've played it more, let me tell you about it. First of all, this game does have some table presence. It's big, it takes up a decent amount of table space, it looks unique, it sounds unique, and it is unique. So it has a great table presence, and it is very innovative. There's no doubt that this game's going to be on my short list in just a few weeks when I start doing all my best games of the year. This one's definitely going to be on the short list for most innovative game of the year. The technology behind this is just absolutely amazing. Even just the freestyle mode that you saw me throwing cards down there, taking some off, putting some on top of other ones. It's just so cool how this works. Now the game itself is very easy to learn. It doesn't have a lot of rules, even though there's 3 different ways that you can actually play the game. But all those rules are in the app, and they're easily accessible and a low barrier entry, and I like that about it. Now that freestyle mode I really love. You saw me messing with that quite a bit. I love taking the different genres, the different songs, and kind of making your own mashups. And being a musician, I like messing with the keys and seeing how it sounds in a different key, changing the BPMs and such. I like that mode. It's just a free mode. It also allows you to teach the game, or the technology behind the game, and how to usually play it without getting so specific while just having fun and exploration. So I like that aspect of it. And with that mode, being able to save your mixes and share them with your friends, really cool idea. The party mode actually probably is my favorite mode. It's light, but it gives you a feeling of some of those real-time board games that are popular, like Fuse, for example, where you're communicating in a very quick way with your teammates, trying to say what you can do. And I like that you can't see the other player's cards, so you can't tell people what to do. You have to work together very quickly to try to get the best scores possible. I have a card that works, but do I have the best card? I don't know. Does anybody have this? Does anyone have a better card than this? and you got to try to figure out, well, what's better to do? Waste a little bit more time or just play the card? And so I like that. If you like real-time games, this is an excellent version of that. Then you have the Clash mode, which I also like, where you can play with the teams or versus other people. And my favorite part of that is doing the deck builder and actually pulling the specific cards from the specific decks, different decks, and making my own deck and making sure that you can, I like how it has an app where you can make sure it's not too powerful and make sure it's not too weak. And you can try to get in that range and just basically build all the cards of all the songs you really like and do that. And I think that is one of the most fun things for a gamer's perspective, is kind of messing with this and building your own deck. Now the game has a lot of replayability because there's a lot of different decks. There's 4 that come with it, but there's still, every time you play the game, it's going to be a different experience because different cards are going to get played over different other cards, and you're just going to be hearing different mixes every time. It's just a really cool aspect of this. Plus the expandability. Spoiler alert, I love this game so much that I've already bought pretty much every other deck possible out there. If you say a deck is 15 cards, I think I've bought all 10 that are out there, including the 2 that are exclusive at different stores. I mean, the game comes with 4, and I already got 10 more on top of that. I cannot wait for those to arrive because the game's very expandable, and I'm sure they'll keep doing this. So it's looking forward. I mean, right off the bat, you have a ton of content. Looking forward, I'm sure they're going to continue making more if it's selling well. I think this game, the full experience, is larger and better than the sum of its parts. If you just had the toy part of the Freestyle, it's cool, but it might get old. If you are just playing this as a card game without the music, it's okay. It's average, maybe even below average. But when you put those things together, wow, it makes such a unique experience that this game is better than the sum of its parts for sure. Anything I don't like about it? Well, the gameplay is going to be lighter than most, quote, gamers prefer. They're going to want something a little bit more deep, a little bit more rich, but this is a mass market game, and you have to put that in a context. For a mass market game, I think the weight is fine, although some gamers are going to wish they had something deeper. I think it's perfect for what it's trying to do. The game's not easy to travel with because you've got this big board. I went on the Dice Tower cruise last week. I really wanted to bring this with me, but there's no way I was packing this and bringing it on an airplane. Maybe they'll figure out a way to make a fold-up mat that has the same readable technology. Who knows? Maybe I'm dreaming. The game is not colorblind friendly. One of my good friends that lives next door is colorblind. We tried to play the game, and he's a musician as well, so he loves the idea. He loves the game, but he struggles quite heavily with the color. So the party mode doesn't work for him because he can't see him fast enough. The other mode, okay, he can ask me questions on my team and I can help him play a little bit, but it's not colorblind friendly. I thought about starting to make some of the stickers and place them on there so you can see what logo goes with what. But then some of the keyboards are both green and red, and some of the guitars are green and red, and so that didn't really help. I wish they would have thought of this a little more to make it colorblind friendly. And the other bad thing is you need a really good audio source to get the best out of the experience. If you're playing this in a loud environment, like I did at PAX the first time in like a hotel lobby, or if you're playing with it and it's just using your tablet or your phone speakers, the experience isn't going to be nearly as good. You really need a good powered Bluetooth speaker or plug it into a stereo system. And when that happens, the game goes way up in how much fun and how good the experience is going to be. I hope that someday they figure out a way to allow people to create their own cards of their own favorite bands. Maybe some independent bands where they can take different tracks and be able to put them on there. That would be amazing. But overall, this is a very amazing experience game. I love it. It's so innovative. And like normal, I'm going to be inducting it into my gaming library very thematically, since this is a music game, with a saxophone serenade. So here we go.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.